very delighted to be here. I think this is an incredible, invigorating, inspiring conversation that's unfolding.
All right.
Very interesting how Ada persistently say, no, never happened. It never happened. Never happened. And eventually, then it's again the friend, Sagi, that says, but you remember those nightmares that you had? And remember these poppies that came up in your dreams and how you shouted out early in the morning when you had these dreams. And then with that, something reconnects in her memory. And then also with that, the mother phones back and gives her a bit of information that then let her relax into accepting that there's possibly this whole unfolding. But what I really like is how the series takes the viewer onto a progressive revelation of facts. You know, it's not given to you in one scene. You get a little bit here, and then you get mesmerized and deeper drawn into it, and then there's something more. And progressively, it takes you deeper. And as we would now see into the rest of the episode and what follows.
Yeah. And but the thing is, what was very interesting for me is her direct conflict between the two men in her life, where Celine feels completely left out. He does not feel needed. And he's at a loss, which we in future episodes see that is his issue. But in his relationship with Ada, this issue is pushed to the front. And then Toprak is the one who says, I want to get closer, but something is holding me back. And he doesn't understand her terrible, terrible anger. And so it is so sad when I take it into real life and I look at people and they've got this conflict in them and we don't understand. How are we going to solve it? How are we going to solve it with coaching? We can't. How are we going to solve it with any other therapy? We can't. And I love that is so clear in this constellation, that is the core of her problem. Her anger, the hurt that she is trying to run away from, and then Selim, who actually has no place in her life, who's just there so that his wounds are taken care of and her wounds are taken care of. So if we look from a relationship point of view, how can this marriage ever survive? There is no foundation for survival in this marriage. And I think it's important to realize that we often are in relationships for the sake of them, but not because they give us that inner fulfillment, the heart fulfillment that we actually all want.
Would you also say that sometimes in these relationships, it's clear that they have chosen each other on a subconscious level as catalyst for the growth? But once that growth is revealed and they understand what's going on, it's almost like there's no real reason for the relationship to continue, and therefore it dissolves. I don't know, what's your take on that?
My question is there growth, or is there just an expression of the wounds? And is the relationship came together because he knew if he kept Ada happy, he could heal her wounds. That was his aim. And that was his purpose. And so it was very clear for him right from the word go. And for her, it was, this is my safe space. He's never going to leave me. And therefore, I'm going to be okay here. So it is a relationship where we are together because we serve each other. So it's more a serving each other, and then the serving becomes too painful. His intention was never to have that outside attention. He wasn't, his intention was to always be truthful. But the pressure cooker in his marriage got too much. And for Ada, it is a case of, now that you have betrayed me, my wound is back. So you didn't protect my wound. You said you were going to protect my wound, and you didn't. And that's the betrayal. The betrayal is not him having an affair. The betrayal is that he did not protect her wound. That's her anger. And so
Brilliant insight.
He no longer could serve her because he didn't protect her. So so we are looking at it in a deeper way, and we're looking at it in a more, I would say, holistic way, because we're not just looking at the symptoms of the marriage. We're looking at how did this marriage come together, and then when is the pressure cooker going to bring up the wounds? And I have a saying that when we're in relationships, the reason the relationship doesn't work is because our childhood wounds come to the surface. That's one way of looking at it. It's because that inner child needs to dance, that inner child needs to play out. And whatever was not given to the inner child at a time when the child was in a family home, he or she now requires from the marriage. And that's not possible. Nobody can feed the need of the inner child. And so we need to look at relationships differently, as we can see here.
Yeah.
So Leon, thank you so much for being here with me again today, and
Thank
for
you.
having this conversation, because you always prickle my mind, it's good to have this exchange and this conversation with you. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sonja. Thank you.
And,
Looking forward to our next time.
Looking forward to our next time. Awesome. Take care.
Okay. Thank
Bye.
you. All right.